we call it the BYC. So this is the BYC for February. It's a Boost Your Confidence panel that we usually have, where we have an expert in the medical field to talk to us about a topical issue in the medical world and even globally, and also to share their own experience, of whatever we are talking about. And this month we are putting the focus, the limelight on breast cancer. Some of us remember that World Cancer Day was on the 4th of February. And we want to commemorate it in a way. Of course, the way in which we commemorate World Health Days is to just raise awareness and to sensitize ourselves and remind ourselves about the healthy practices that we can adopt in order to reduce our chances, of falling prey to such diseases. Of course, the grace of God is what we depend on. No matter how many healthy practices we have, if we don't depend on God, who is the giver of life, then I don't think we'll be on the positive or receiving end at all. So I'm so excited to welcome us to our first Zoom session for this month. Last month, we had an Instagram live session with Dr. Cole Adefe, a dermatologist, and she talked to us about healthy lifestyle choices and our skin. It was such an interesting session. But today we have someone really special with us in the house, and I'll be introducing her shortly. However, as we enter the room, I would desire that you introduce yourself in the chat box. We have a chat box function. Sometimes, we lose track of those that attend our meeting. So just introduce yourself by name and place, or maybe country, and let us know where you're from, and we'll be able to recognize everyone in due course. So welcome once again. I hope you have a bottle of water beside you. Good afternoon, Ma. I can see Lucy. I don't know which Lucy this is, so please, if you could just put in your full name so that I'll know exactly who is sending in the message. So your name and where you are, what part of the country, or which other country outside Nigeria that you're from. So thank you so much for joining us. I know that many more people are on the way. We have someone special here today. I must say that we are Lifestyle Champions International. For those of us who are joining this event for the very first time, we are coming for a meeting for the very first time. Lifestyle Champions International is a non-governmental, not-for-profit organization where we seek to raise lifestyle champions. Lifestyle champions choose to make healthy choices every day in order to prevent lifestyle-related diseases and also to maintain or improve their health-related quality of life. So you might not have so much money in your pocket, but you know that you're fit, you're well, and you're good to go and expectant that things will be better for you. So in the house today, I have Dr. Juliet Amaka Nebe. She's a consultant family physician, and she's an entrepreneur, and she's going to tell us a bit more about herself. I didn't get her bio, forgive me, I forgot to collect her bio, but she's going to tell us a bit more about herself before we launch into the conversation. So welcome, Dr. Nebe. So excited to have you here this evening.
Thank you very much, Yuri. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's long overdue. We've been shifting, and I'm glad.
Yeah. So Dr. Nebe is a colleague. We were in our residency training program together. That's a postgraduate residency program. And she was actually a pillar, a very strong pillar, among those of us who are residents, very encouraging and inspiring. And that has not changed. And she's gone through life challenges and she's still standing strong. She's a mother, and I'm sure she will tell us a bit more about that. She's also an associate, what we call a Lifestyle Champions International Associate, LCI Associate. So we have several medical personnel who work with us, in Lifestyle Champions International, to ensure that we get evidence-based information that will help us to make good choices about our health. So I'm so excited to welcome you to this conversation today. Could you just tell us a bit about yourself? Just a brief, about where you've been, in the past few years and what you're doing right now.
Okay, my name is Dr. Nebe Juliet, and the majority of people call me Amaka. That's my second name. And I've come a long way in my short life. I happen to be 50 years. I was 50 in October 2022. I'm married with 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. Currently, I practice as a family physician, a consultant family physician at Lagos University Teaching Hospital. I became a doctor in 2000. That was 23 years ago, approximately. And along the line, I went into general practice. I started as a medical officer. The first 9 years of my life, I worked as a medical officer after house job, then youth service, then I started in a private hospital. I grew to become the deputy director of that hospital before I decided to go into residency. So I started residency in Lagos University Teaching Hospital, concluded in 2015, and was retained as a consultant in youth. Along the line, when I finished my residency, I also started a clinic that I have so much passion for, because it's a clinic based on a community service and the kind of reaching out to people that have nowhere to turn to. But to my surprise, it grew to become a very, lucrative clinic, in the sense that due to the services we offer that is generalistic in nature, we're able to garner referrals over time. And presently, I have more than 1,000 base patients, about 500 family cards, and about 700 something personal cards. And we've been moving, and here we are today. So it's a pleasure being amongst you.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing. And that's what life is about, service. But what God does, He translates it into something even much more bigger than you could have imagined. So thank you so much, Dr. Nebe.
Thank you.
We're here, and welcome once again to everyone in the chat box, in the chat room. I keep on saying chat box, in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. Someone said, I'm not hearing any audio. Can you hear now? Dr. Femi, can you hear us now?
I think you might need to log out and back in again, because it's actually quite clear. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'm sure he will do that. So I can see everyone who has introduced themselves in the chat box. Ri from Ota, Nigeria, Noye Aligbe, Lagos. Great to have you. Ajima Jason Folashade from Lagos, Lucy Oba Yuana from Lagos, Kenny Mac from Ota, Longest Sonny Anthony, Ogun State. Awesome. Ola Akinola from Ota. Awesome. Fumi Amosu from Ibadan. Happiness Ebo from Abuja. Awesome. So I have a few questions for Dr. Nebe. So according to the World Health Organization, there were 2.3 million women in the year 2020 who were diagnosed with breast cancer. And in this same year, 685,000 of these women died from breast cancer. As at the end of 2020, there were 7.8 million women alive who were diagnosed with breast cancer within the past 5 years, making it the world's most prevalent cancer. These figures are staggering. Every time I see these figures and I encounter people with this disease, I often feel, overwhelmed, really. So, but tell us, these are global figures. Do we have any statistics, in Nigeria? How common is it in Nigeria? I was in a function, I was invited to speak somewhere, and somebody was telling me that some of these things they're talking about, they don't happen here. I'm sure most of us here are Nigerians. Do these things happen in Nigeria? And is a burden going down or is it increasing? Maybe we would say that, okay, maybe it used to happen some years ago and maybe it's going down. So what is really happening within our own space here?
Okay, the person saying it does not happen here doesn't seem to know what is on ground. And you know how it is, when you're not directly involved with something, you feel it is very far because you're not directly involved. But the recent data you talked about is 2020. It's from Health Links, I think, Health Think International. And recently, the studies done by Adebawo, it's in UI. He used to be in UCH before he relocated to America. There are more recent things happening now. We seem to have gone a long way that as of now, we are thinking that it is the highest cancer we have. If you look at the analysis in 2021, 37.7% prevalence. It was higher than all the other cancers, prostate, everything. Breast cancer was just up there. If you look at as of 2021, that's the most recent we have. Then again, it's no more 11%, it's gone all the way to 18% attributable death. So we're talking about out of every 100, about 18 dies out of breast cancer. So if you have 100 people with breast cancer, about 18 will die. And if you have 100 people with cancer, general cancer, 18 of them will die from breast cancer. That's how it is. So as of now, breast cancer is the thing, is the highest cancer we have. And amongst women is on top there, amongst all the other cancers, it's on top there. Okay, and it's progressively increasing. The projection we have now is that by 2030, we're looking at 84 million women having breast cancer. It's a projection, but if you look at the trend, it's getting there. You understand? So if you're having a prevalence of that level of increase, then it's something to be worried about.
Wow. 18 people out of, did you say 100 would die?
Yes, that's the prevalence, 80%.
And that's quite high. Okay, so can breast cancer, can it be linked to any particular cause? Because that's a question I get a lot of times. A lot of you ask me, so why are we having more and more people coming down with this thing? Technology is improving. We have access to more drugs, to more solutions, so to speak. So why do we still have people coming down with cancer?
As of now, breast cancer has not been attributed to any particular cause. But we have risk factors, and the increase we are seeing in the developing world is because of urbanization and lifestyle. Okay, so now it's being attributed to the risk factors more than a cause. So it's like a bucket of all things clustered together is leading to this, not just a direct cause, like in malaria, we say, okay, mosquito bite, plasmodium, no, it's a risk factor. And studies have shown that some of the people does not even have all these risk factors, and they are there. So, and the risk factors pass through a lot of things, pass through the modifiable ones and the non-modifiable ones. So it is actually the risk factors that we're going to look out for, because we don't have any cause. We don't have anything that we say, okay, don't expose yourself to, and you don't spread. What do we do? What we know on ground based on evidence is that there are risk factors that are up there. For instance, if you are looking at the modifiable ones, it means that the ones that we can change, which is why I always want to be in Lifestyle International, knowing that in as much as I cannot do much of the things they are putting out there, I still try, I still work hard to do them. So if Lifestyle is playing up to 70% positive, is up to 70% implicated, then we have to be very careful. We have to be extremely careful. So the modifiable risk factors are the way to go. If we can limit them, then I don't think we have any cause to worry. Why? Because the other non-modifiable ones is something you cannot change. You cannot alter them, you cannot change them. And I think—
Can you give us examples?
Yeah.
Can you give us examples of the ones we can't change?
Okay, so the ones we can't change is number one, age. The age, we cannot change them. You can't change your age because it's known for a fact that as one ages, the cells modify themselves and the chances of metaplasia increases. So one can attribute some cancers to age, and breast cancer is included there. Then another one is gender. It is more in the female. Being a female predisposes you to breast cancer more. It's not as if it's not seen in the male, but for the fact that you're a female, you have a high risk of developing it along the way. Okay, then family history. Almost up to 40% of breast cancer has been attributed to family history. That big, 40%. Then the remaining 60% is not attributed to family history. So you can't say because you don't have any family history of breast cancer, the lump I'm seeing will never be breast cancer. So it's only about 40. Some even studies say 30, some say 20. So what the organization is still pushing 40, but with the newer studies coming up, is even less than that. So majority are not family related, but is implicated. Then again, the breast density, the way the breast is, people that have multiple cysts in their breasts, people that have very dense breast tissues, naturally, that's how they are created. They are at more risk than people that has very light breast. Then when the genetic constitution is there, you have what you call BRCA, BRCA1 and 2, constituted in the gene of a person. We can't go and reconstitute that. So they are not modifiable. We can't change that. So these 5 things we cannot change, and it is there. We're not trying to make people afraid or anything, but that is how people are made, and it could happen to them because of these factors. But the modifiable ones are the ones we can change. For instance, obesity, overweight, has been attributed up to 25% in all cancers. So we need to work on our weight, work on what we eat. That's the major one. Then smoking, alcohol, physical inactivity, those are things that are modifiable. Then again, early pregnancy offers a kind of safety. However, late pregnancy has been implicated too. Late pregnancy above 40 years has been implicated as a modifiable risk factor, because you can say, I don't want to get pregnant after 40 years. So you can actually modify that. But pregnancy is now classified as one of the risk factors. That's not early pregnancy at late stage pregnancy, it's been implicated as a risk factor. So if you have these modifiable risk factors and you're able to modify them, and the study has shown that up to 30% risk of any cancer, including breast cancer, can be avoided.
Wow. Wow, I'm sure this is new information for some of us. And I think we really need to be aware as much as possible of these modifiable risk factors. There are some things that we can't change, except God changes it for us. For example, now you've talked about the people that have that BRCA1 gene, for example, is like they're already predisposed. And I know of some women who, because their parents or their mother and grandmother had breast cancer, they even did what we call a prophylactic mastectomy. That means they removed their breasts even early, before they could develop the cancer, since they already know that it is inside the breast that the cancer can develop, So people are really making a lot of strides in order to protect themselves. But one of the things that I have noticed is that once women are diagnosed, maybe they get this diagnosis or they notice a lump in their breast, they go to the hospital and they're even being told, okay, you need some further checkup or follow-up. This might be a cancer, we need to evaluate. I've noticed that some of these women, they just run away. You don't just see them. And then they appear 6 months later, 9 months later, when things are, are really bad. So sometimes I wonder, why do women run away from the hospital? Why do they run away from the diagnosis? Why don't they want to face, that challenge, so to speak?
Okay, so coming from me, I thank you, Yuri, for that question. I think majorly it's the fear of the unknown. And if you say, I will not say ignorance, no. Neither will I say illiteracy, because I have seen one of the most pathetic cases I intervened with a professor in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, who is a family member. And she did not take treatment. So it is not a matter of education, a matter of illiteracy, or a matter of ignorance. I think it is the fear of the unknown, the fear of what we hear from people, the different things that are negative concerning breast cancer. When you get to a point whereby you feel that I'm staring death on the face, decisions are not yanked out of your hands through so many means. And it only takes a strong and a courageous person to stand firm and say, I make this decision and I go this way. So what I have understood in the course of interacting with people, because I got to the extent that whenever they have issues at general surgery rooms, they call me to intervene. So I have reached this point where I now understand that it has nothing to do with literacy, because I have seen doctors run away. I have seen professors run away. So now it dawns on me that it's just about the courage. So what happens is that there is loss of courage, fear of the unknown. So the person is afraid, and majority of them that run is because of fear, nothing else. It's because of fear, because they know the literature is out there, the information is out there. No matter how bad it is, you must have somebody that will say, this is it, this is that. So majority of them is out of fear. They hear so many things. Your breast will be cut off, you go to chemotherapy, you go to radiotherapy. Sure, the chemotherapy can kill you. The radiotherapy will burn your skin. You will never do this, you will never do that, you will not come out of it. So the fear of the unknown chases them away from the proper treatment.
That's quite revealing, because sometimes many of us, we just think it's literacy, how much book you know. If you know enough, then you take the decisions. But I realize that what you're saying is quite true, because some of the women that present early enough, they don't even have so much knowledge, but they know that there's something wrong and they just come. So how can we let people know that it's not a death sentence? Is it possible that we tell women that it's not a death sentence? The fact that you have breast cancer does not mean that it's the end of the road. Is it really true that it's not a death sentence, that in a few years I'm going?
It is not. I am here and I've been standing for more than 10 years. It is quite true. It's not a death sentence at all. And the thing is that so many factors come to play a part in whatever happens in the life of an individual. I always tell people that ill health is something that has to do with faith. Because I've seen headache kill people, and I've seen bad news kill people. You have HIV and the person goes berserk, and the next thing, the person is gone. So it's a matter of, first of all, bringing yourself together, deciding that, do I need to fight this or do I need to die? That is the first thing. Making that decision is very paramount in every ill health. Even when they have an accident and they say they're going to chop off your leg, it's the same decision. Do I want to live without a limb, or do I want to die because I'm losing the limb? So coming to that decision is very paramount in ill health. It is the decision that will give you the courage to fight. And it is that decision that will give you the courage to run. So if you take the decision that I want to fight this, I want to live, I want to go to every extent, then you sit down and ask yourself, how do I fight this? What is the right way of fighting this? What is the right thing I will do? Who has gone through this thing I can emulate? What will this person do? That is why we have so many people speaking out about cancer. That is why up to tomorrow, even in our department right now, we have one of our newest consultants going through it, and I happen to be championing it. That is why up to tomorrow, they can still come in general surgery after how many years, more than 12 years, to come and talk to young doctors that are diagnosed with breast cancer. Because they will see that it is not a death sentence, I'm living, and I did it this way, and I did it this way, and I did it this way. So they have somebody that has gone through it, that is bounced back, looking healthy, achieving a lot, and they say, okay, if this lady can do this, so why not me? So the thing is about courage. So it's not a death sentence at all, and it is, you can win this fight. And winning it, the paramount thing is how early was it found? How early did you make that decision to be courageous? You don't see it in December and make the decision in November. It's 9 months or 11 months. So many things could have happened. So it's a time-bound decision, a decision you need to make within a very short period of time. So that is where we are. So it is not a death sentence at all. Many people have gone through it. Many people have fought it to stand still, and they're still living, pushing that so many other women will also live with them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nebe. I'm already becoming a bit teary right now, because, you know, when you see some women who come at that terminal stage, you know, and you know that something could have been done if this was addressed earlier. So yes, I think you have hit the nail on the head. Courage, being able to face that, the reality of that situation, you know, will help us to pursue it, to be able to say that there's something that can be done. I can be free. This thing will not kill me, but we need to approach it early enough. Wow. So from what you've said so far, it's clear to everyone on the call right now that Dr. Nebe has had a personal life experience with breast cancer, you know, and over 10 years now. And I'm so thankful to God that she's standing, she's alive and well, and she's able to share her story. She's able to encourage other people, motivate other people to make the right choice. What really helps you to go through that challenge? Maybe you want to share a little bit. I know we don't have so much time, but maybe briefly you let people know this was what you did that helped you to, I'm sure you detected it on time and you were able to take some steps. How do we encourage someone on this call who has a lump in the breast, is afraid to face possible consequences or outcomes? You know, share a bit of your own experience with us, so that will inspire us. That's what BYC is all about, boosting our confidence to make a lifestyle change.
Okay, number one is that it's not something you pray for. Let's start from there. It is not something you wish your worst enemy. It's not something you pray for. And each time it comes with a level of rejection and a level of unbelief. Why would this come? Especially when it's coming at a very young age, probably before 40, and you're wondering why me, and you're looking at your mother, and you're looking at your grandmother. They are all alive. You don't have a family history of it whatsoever. And that was my case. I had no family history. A very young woman, and I wasn't sick. At the time I had started residence, I was a businesswoman. I was doing Dubai. I was importing things. So I had money. I had a little money. So residency was just a fulfillment of what I wanted to be. So just overnight, my dream was turned upside down. And I was like, where is this coming from? But one thing made me make the decision. I have little children. My last child was just 5. 4th going to 5, going on to 5, because I was born 2005. And I wanted to be close to them before I start my residency. So I waited till the last one was about 25, and I started my residency in 2009, and bam, 2010, this happened. And it was where I was just energetic. And actually, I was in a business trip. I was about to go for a business trip. in September, when I was just about to park my car and I noticed a lump in my breast. I was in the car when I noticed it for the first time. And I'm very observant. I was like, what is this? I rushed inside, opened, undressed, and felt it, and it was a lump. I said, okay, let me just travel to Dubai and come back. And that was just within 4 days travel. So I went, came back, went to go and see a surgeon in this. He was like, how old are you? I said, I'm 30. Then I was about 37. He said I was 37. He said, ow, it's not looking so good. I was like, what do you mean by that? He said, does your mom have breast cancer? You know, the question started coming. I thought it was a joke. And then he said I should do mammogram. And I said, I'm not up to 40. He said, yes, that they want to see it. So I went to another very known radiologist. He called radiologist and we got there, and the diagnosis started from there. It was a funny journey because I kept saying, how can? Where from? How can? And eventually within 2 weeks, it became obvious that something had gone wrong and I need to tackle it. So I sat down and I started asking myself questions. So one thing I knew is that I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I feel I'm so young and nothing is wrong with me. It wasn't painful. And I was like, what do I need to do to be alive? Number one, I decided that I already know God. I already serve God very, very well with all my heart. So I went to him. I was like, there should be a reason for this. Because I believe that you need me for something more than this. So if you allow this to come, there should be a reason. And there and then I have the clarity that's going to make you a better doctor. That was what I believed. And I started the journey. And my journey was God and what I needed to do. I bared my soul. I forgive everybody. I never used to get angry. You know, I saw it as, let me just keep my heart bare. Then I started the journey. I did everything that I needed to do. I did the surgery. I did the chemo. I did the radio. But one thing is that, you know, breast cancer is different. That's another thing. Whatever decision you make about your treatment, you need to ask questions. Why is the doctor doing this and not this? Why am I doing this and not this? Don't say, because Mary got surgery first, you must do surgery first. No, you must follow what the specialist is saying. That is another thing. Because I told you about a professor that died, somebody told him about Hallelujah diet, and she forgot about medical treatment. And she was in what Hallelujah diet is that? And she kept drinking vegetables and fruits until there was generalized metastasis that we couldn't even handle. So I followed the treatments with my prayers, with my meditation, trying to overlook a lot of things, and eventually here I am. It's all usually cost is very paramount because it's heavily implicated. You have to spend a lot of money, and it actually depends on the type you have. There are some that are very, very aggressive. We call them triple negative. And this triple negative means it's not estrogen sensitive, not progesterone sensitive, not receptive sensitive. But in my own case, it was triple positive. And that means a very huge cost. So for the receptive positive, I have the receptive positive, even since around that time, that 2010-11, the drug was so expensive. It was only Rauch that has it. And it was so expensive. That drug alone, trastuzumab, was 10.6 million. Not to talk of the surgery you have to pay, not to talk about every other thing. Just trastuzumab for that 1 year period was 10.6 million as of 2010. And you wonder where I will get that. My business shut down, everything in my house shut down, but I had the belief that I'm moving and I'm living. And if God wills it, that I will live and I take this treatment, I will survive. So that is important. And now I have my money. I have everything back. I am living. And what I tell women is that whenever you refuse to take treatment, the cancer does not wait for you. Even if you postpone it 1 month, the cancer cannot say, okay, she's going to take the treatment in June, so let me stand still and wait for June. No. So it's something that you have to hit and hit it hard, and you stand up running too. And again, let me tell you, if I always tell my patients that even if anything happens to you right now, right this minute, if I slump this minute and die, the world moves on. They just jump over you and move on. So you have to do everything to stay alive. You have to. So I know that is what I do. I did. Then lifestyle, because so many things has to be taken out of your diet. It will help you to lose weight. And that is where we are today. And I encourage everybody I see. And if I'm asked to talk to them, I do. Well, recently they still called me about somebody whom I have to talk to, helped, and I actually see why God allowed that in my life, because I'm in a position to help a lot of women. Okay, so this woman, they have the money, they have the fund, so she needed to do mastectomy and do reconstruction, which they don't do in Nigeria. So now they've done it. They did it on the 1st of February. They took abdominal flap and reconstructed the breast. Even she was telling me 2 days ago that the one they reconstructed looks so beautiful, that she's wishing the other one, the left one, should look like that. So technology has gone a long way to help these women, to help us. Because the thing is that things are on ground. I need to know what is on ground. And not knowing from the wrong source, from the right source. We need to know what is on ground. There's so many things to help us to combat this ill health. Thank you, Ori.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Nebs, like I love to call you. I want to say a warm welcome once again. I noticed that quite a number of people have joined us. We started this meeting just about 12 minutes after 3. It's our BYC, we call it Boost Your Confidence panel for Lifestyle Champions International, where we raise lifestyle champions. Lifestyle champions choose to make healthy choices deliberately, intentionally every day in order to improve their quality of life. And today we're listening to Dr. Juliet Nebe, who has shared her story. I'm sure some of us who just logged in will listen to her. And I can see someone's chats. Someone made a mention of the fact that they are so happy that you are alive. Yes, I'm so happy that my friend and colleague, is alive and well, because we were there when she went through that process. And, never for one day did I see her looking faithless, so to speak. Some of the things that she has shared with us now, she shared with me, how she went back to God. And I think that's one of the most important things anyone who has this diagnosis needs to do. We need to go back to God, who is the giver of life, and get him, to give us direction. One of the major issues that we have as medical professionals is that we see a lot of people turn away from conventional medical treatments. I know the thing about conventional medical treatments is that it's evidence-based. There's a science. We're not saying that it works 100%, but there's a science behind it. So you can imagine a professor who turns away from the science or the knowledge that she has and decides to follow a particular diet. The example that was given was Hallelujah diet. We're not saying that a particular diet is not helpful, but once you have a diagnosis of this kind of cancer, then that's not the time to say that you're turning to that diet. If you're talking about maybe some form of prevention to reduce your risk, according to the modifiable risk factor that Dr. Nebe talked about, losing weight, removing some certain things from your diet, exercising, yes, that is good. But once there's a diagnosis already, what we need to do is to embrace courage, and that's what Dr. Nebe did. And that's the story that she's sharing with many other people, so that they can courageously take the treatment that is necessary, and in so doing, improve the outcome. Because what we have discovered is that once you don't present early enough, once you don't take treatment early enough, everything, all those things will not wait for you. We have, Dr. Nebe said that technology has gone a long way, in order to help people to detect this problem on time. And she has also said that the cancer will not wait. So if you want to procrastinate and do it in 1 month time, in 6 months time, that cancer could have, spread. For those of us who were wondering what she meant when she said metastasis, metastasis just means that a harmful cell has spread into another organ. So the harmful cell was actually originated from the breast tissue. And it now spreads to the liver, it spreads to the spine, it spreads to the intestine, or even to the brain. I've seen someone like that who had metastasis to the brain. But this can be prevented if we are courageous enough, with God on our side, trusting God, even in the medical process, taking God every inch of the way, then we'll be able to overcome. So I know that some people will have some questions for Dr. Nebe. Ore, are you there? For some reason, my screen, I'm not able to touch my screen and open the chat box. Could you just help us?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. So I really want to ask everyone to appreciate Dr. Nebe right now. Put something in the chat box to appreciate her for coming out here to share her story with us, for inspiring us, show her some love. We don't have silver and gold to give her, but there was one thing she also said. It was like everything shut down, her business shut down, but God has restored everything back to her. That's so awesome. That's a fantastic testimony, and I really thank God for you. So show her some love. And then if you have any questions, I don't know what situation you are going through as a person. It might not even be a breast cancer. It might be something else. It might be a prostate issue, especially that's for a man. It can be some other issue. Do you have a challenge? Do you have a question? But primarily, we're trying to raise awareness about the fact that you can treat breast cancer early enough and it wouldn't be a death sentence. So, Ore, could you just help us to read out some of the messages in the chat box?
Okay, I'll start from the top. I thank God for you, Dr. Nebe. Thank you for Dr. Nebe for sharing. What a journey you have been through. Thank you so much for sharing with us. A lot of thank yous. Your strength is continually renewed in Jesus' name. Thank you, ma. I appreciate what we have. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your experience. I'm just scrolling through. I haven't seen any questions yet, but there's a lot of appreciation, a lot of love for you. It's a bit, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you so much for taking time to share your inspiring journey, story. May your strength be continually renewed. Thank you for sharing your journey openly and embracing courage. There's a question, is it also, or a comment? Also, I feel patients cannot take it in when they hear they are diagnosed of it. Talks like these are really appreciated. I feel some medical practitioners, health caregivers should be able to make the patient understand why they need to take treatments and proper follow-up. Okay.
Okay, so Dr. Nebe, do you want to make any response to that?
Yes. The question, it wasn't a question, it's a comment. That is what we are hoping to achieve. But the problem is that most of the practitioners lack empathy. They don't have the empathy, even the way they break news to them, it's overwhelming. And with a patient that doesn't have nobody has expectation, like, let me put it this way. We don't have expectation concerning bad news. You're never fully prepared for bad news. No matter how strong you are, no matter how you seem to have been grounded in things, you're never fully, prepared for bad news. So when the physician or when the medical personnel is not empathic, it causes a lot of problems. When they are not patient enough to explain what is expected of you in this management, is not so good. Even recently, I had to confront an oncologist. I had to talk to her, and she's a female, and she's a very good oncologist. But I don't know what happened with this patient. And the patient came crying to me. Because in Lut now, we have a new oncology center, which I'm sure we'll call it NCR. It's the best in the whole of West Africa, but in as much as it's the best, is a PPP, that's public-private partnership built thing. And the money, the funds to treat cancers now is so much that most of the patients cannot, they could not afford it. And it's not, the NHIS is not even covering much. So many of them are stranded, and the doctors are not helping. So for this particular woman, she is a staff of Luke, and she was supposed to be paying 25,000 naira for consultation. And the chemo, that usually what happens is that you buy the drugs and the oncology center administers it free of charge for you. Now you don't buy. So the chemo now is about 300,000 for her, and she can't afford it. And she went to this oncologist and was crying and talking. And she said, "There's nothing I can do, madam. You just have to sort yourself out." I said, "No." She came crying to me. So I had to go there. I called the oncologist. I said, "This is a woman like you. There's something must be done." And lo and behold, something was done. She made arrangements. So the chemotherapy is now being administered at E7. Already, you know E7. E7 is a kind of a private ward. So she arranges with the oncologist the time she's due, and the oncologist will send the resident to go and administer it there without taking anything from her. So she's now cutting off almost 250,000 from the treatment, and she's now affording the treatment. So imagine it wasn't opportune to meet me in the clinic that day. She was just at the right place at the right time. That's the way I put it. So I now sat down that day. I started thinking of hundreds of women that would have stopped their chemo because of this thing. Because they will go away and nobody will educate them on how important it is to complete this chemo. So you're right. We need to be more empathic. We need to be, we need to reach out to them. We need to talk to them. But you can't do so much than what some of us are doing now. We also encourage people that are not even in that field to come in. It will help us. Okay. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much for going beyond yourself, because I know that a lot of medical practitioners will feel overwhelmed sometimes, and we don't even think that we can make a difference. But thank you for inspiring us to know that we can actually go beyond, our comfort zone to help people who are in trouble. But we just need them to come in, early enough, and that's why we're trying to raise awareness, through LCI. Do we have any other question in the chat box?
There's a question. It says, how often should one go for mammogram?
Okay.
Mammogram starts at 40. We encourage mammogram. We only do mammogram at less than 40 if you have overt breast tissue problems. So we expect that people start doing mammogram after 40 years, or if you've not had a child in the last 3 years, according to them, but usually it's 40 years. Now, initially it used to be every year, but now they have increased it to 2 to 3 years. So it's all dependent on if there is a lesion or no lesion. If you have a normal mammogram, we expect you to repeat it in 2 to 3 years, 2 years or 3 years. Okay, and you keep doing that until you're 65, then you stop. Okay. If not, it's every 2 to 3 years that you have to go.
I hope people are writing things down. She's giving us, some of the guidelines. So she's not just picking this from her brain. So there are guidelines that tell us when exactly we should go for certain screenings based on how prevalent a particular condition is. So from age 40, every 2 to 3 years till you're 65. Now, what the reason is that once you're 65, the chances that you will develop breast cancer reduces. Usually we see more cases of breast cancer between 45 to 65 years, but you don't need to screen as often if you have not had anything that suggests that you had it before 65. Do we have any other question before we call it a day?
It says, can fibrocystic breast issues lead to cancer? And then another one says, what is the cost for the mammogram? I don't know if, yeah.
Okay, you can go ahead, Dr. Nebe.
Okay, so when we are talking about risk factors, we talked about dense breasts being a risk factor. So you cannot categorically say it can lead to breast cancer. No, it's a benign lesion. However, when you have any lesion in the breast, you are advised to go for follow-up. You don't just, for instance, you don't just stop going for follow-up. Even if it's once in 2 years, you have to be checked out. Then once you're up to 40, you have to be doing your mammogram. Now, we don't even do mammogram alone. It's sono mammo. You have to do the mammogram and you have to do the ultrasound. That is the completeness of it. It's called sono mammo now. So it's very important to do the two of them. So breast fibrocystic disease, when we will not say it causes, it can lead to breast cancer, no. But it's a risk factor because it's a lesion in the breast. So you need to check out your breast at interval, okay? But it does not cause breast cancer, no. Now, for the cost of the mammogram, it's dependent on where you want to do it. In government hospitals like Lasut, general hospitals, I'm sure it's not more than, it used to be 4-5, then later 6-5. By the middle of, by 2021, it was 265, 7,000, but I'm not sure what it is currently. I'm sure it's not up to 10,000. But in Luz, because our center, our radiological center is now PPP, it's a little bit more expensive than that. It's as expensive as what you get to at a conventional laboratory centers. So our radiological centers, so it's about between 12,000 and 15,000 if you're doing it privately. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Nebe. There are a couple more questions. Is there time for?
Okay, we'll round it up with those 2 questions.
Okay.
Maybe we'll take the 2 questions together so she answers it together and we can sign out.
Okay, it says, can you guide on the foods one should avoid, especially after surgery and chemotherapy? We are aware of sugar. What else, please? And second one is, what are the breast symptoms? I assume this means what are the breast cancer symptoms apart from lumps?
Okay, so for the things you have to avoid, generally, you have to do lifestyle. It's not just about the sugar. It's not about the sugar. You have to do lifestyle. And actually, where I had my surgery, they told me something. They said, I will use the word of Manda. Manda is a renowned, you can Google him, he's a renowned uncle surgeon. So he said, Juliet, eat what you love, do what you love, live your life. That is what she told me. However, what I have got come to understand is that when we say sugar, we cannot quantify the sugar. We cannot limit the sugar because many Nigerian food has sugar. So you have to really do lifestyle, cut down on the quantity, do away with things that are not relevant, things that you don't need. Listen to yourself. It's when you're only hungry, not just eating because you want to eat. Do the normal lifestyle. This is a lifestyle center. So if you leave sugar, what of alcohol? If you leave sugar, what of yam? What of gari? What of all those things has their own level of sugar. So sugar is not really the issue here. It's lifestyle generally, completeness. Okay.
Okay. I think there's another question too about.
Yes.
So but before you go on with the symptoms, just for completeness sake, we don't have so much time, to talk about lifestyle. It's something, if you've been coming for our sessions, you would have heard us talk about lifestyle because it's all embracing. When we're talking about lifestyle, we talk about your nutrition, and we talk about your levels of physical activity. We talk about your stress management. We talk about avoiding substances, any type of substance at all. We talk about your sleep, We talk about positive psychology, the way you view yourself. We talk about connectedness or relationships. Do you love people? You know, if you harbor a lot of distrust, a lot of grudges, then you're unlikely to heal as fast as someone who loves, who lets go. You know, so that's why lifestyle is, you know, is not only about nutrition. Not only about nutrition. So even though in nutrition, we promote the intake of unrefined foods, unprocessed foods. So most of what we eat actually contains, you know, sugar, and we have different types of sugar. We have refined sugars, and refined sugars are found in a lot of foods, anything that comes off the shelf, beverages, whether it is Milo, Ovaltine, you know, anything that comes in a tin, anything that comes in a can, all your soft drinks, whether Maltina, your alcohol, breakfast cereals, you have added sugars in there. Now, the ones that come from the farm, you have yam, you have plantain, you have beans. You know, some people think that beans is just protein. You know, majorly carbs, and any form of carb is a sugar. You know, so we can't say you're going to eliminate sugar totally, but you want to reduce the process of refining. You know, so you want it to come as much as possible from the farm or from the garden to your kitchen. So you want to ensure that the processing is more of a local thing done in your home, not something that goes through the factories. There are a lot of additives, preservatives, added sugars to make it taste better, so I can sell better. You know, so those are the things we try to put a balance on, you know, and then you make it plant-based also. Anything that comes from the ground really is a plant, you know, so plant-based, less of animal products. So let me just leave it at that while I allow you to say something about the symptoms of.
Now, it's not only breast lump. You know, as I was talking, I told you that there are different types of breast cancer. Just don't have one type. There are different types. We have the inflammatory breast cancer. We have the Paget disease. We have the angiosarcomas. We have the ductal carcinoma, which is the common one. Then we have the intralesional carcinomas. So there are different types. So some of them will come with lumps. Some of them will just come with skin changes. You're looking at your nipple that used to be dark, nipple and the areola. Then the areola starts looking whitish, changing color from black to maybe red, then red to white, or you just see a patch on top of your breast. So it mustn't be a lump inside the breast, although it occurs commonly as a lump. Understand? Then it could be painful. You would think it's a boil. It's very painful. See, we call it inflammatory breast cancer. It's very painful, and the breast starts becoming big as if there is pus inside. Okay, so anytime you see a change in the normal way your breast moves, that's why we teach girl child. Even now, we've started teaching the young boys to look at their body. Look at what the norm is, so that when the difference comes, we will easily detect it. In short, the praise I got was detecting a lump that was less than 2 cm. The lump I had was less, in short, it was looking like a mosquito bite. So because I look at my body, when you look at it, it was on top of my skin. It wasn't a lump. It wasn't a lump, it was just on top of my skin, looking like a mosquito bite. But it was, why would mosquito bite me on my breast when I'm wearing night gown and everything? I don't sleep naked. So any change on your breast, on your body, from the crown of your head to the toe of your feet, to your toes, and you don't understand what it is, it was not there yesterday or last year, and you're seeing it now. Any point you see it, know what it is. Don't go to the internet to check what it is. It might give you what will make you not to sleep for years. Just go to a doctor. That is why I always tell people that we have 2 friends. You know, the 2 most important friends, a doctor and a person that works with you in your work with God. These 2 people, very important. Very important. Because if you have a doctor friend, like you know Ore now, you know me, you can easily reach out to us. I'm seeing this thing. I don't know what it is. Can you help me check it out? Come in. Don't be afraid of doctors. I know people will say that if you're well and you go to doctor, they'll give you what you don't have. It is not true. Know the good ones that can guide you, that can make you not to make mistakes. So whenever you see anything in your breast, anything at all, please check it out. Let it be that we check and say, that is nothing. Then in 6 months' time, and I'm battling to save your life. Okay?
Wow. This is awesome. I wish we had more time. I don't know if we've left any questions unanswered. I want to believe we've answered all questions.
Yeah, all questions have been answered, yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much once again, Dr. Nebe. We're so grateful. Thank you for being here this evening, even though you're with us. But I know that this is going to inspire someone. And, we are helpers. We are going to, the fact that you have heard this and you don't have this problem, it doesn't mean that the knowledge, you got was just for the sake of it. There might be someone that's going to come your way tomorrow who is going to need a measure of courage or knowledge that you have gotten here today. And you just need to spread the love to the person so that the person can save her life. So thank you so much once again, everyone, for being here. I couldn't click on the chats, but I can see people who joined us not too long ago. Thank you so much for joining. I will try and recognize. Ore, my twin sister, is here and she hosted us today. My husband is here too, Sheon Kolade. Thank you so much. I can see Adeyemi Oluwaseun. I can see Babatunde Ogundumade, Badmus Owolabi, Denike, Dr. Kenny, Folashade Olatunji, Francesca, Tony Peters, Fumi Elakin, Grace is saying, Pastor Imo Epping. Oh, you're welcome, sir. Thank you for being here. Jaye Olale, also one of our LCI associates. Jumoke Oweye, Dr. Kalada, I see you. Thank you for coming. Kende Blessing, Kende Oyewole, Modika Odia Kose, Mrs. Rufus, yes, I see you. Nonya Aligbe, wow, you're here.